Welcome back. 5 months after the curtain came down on Season 7, we go again with the 8th instalment of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship and the Diriyah E-Prix. I'm Jack Nicholls, joined as ever by the 3-time Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti, and we are here in the desert for the first of 16 races that we have coming up this season. A double-header here in Saudi Arabia, then to Mexico City, bit of a break before a double-header in Rome, back to Monaco on the full Grand Prix circuit. Wouldn't be a Formula E season without Berlin. New cities in Jakarta and Vancouver and Seoul to round out the season. And what an entertaining season it is set to be. That man is the reigning champion, Nyck de Vries for Mercedes EQ, and he was incredibly strong and got his championship off to a great start here in Diriyah last year. Lucas di Grassi has joined the Venturi team, and arguably one of the most successful drivers in Formula E. Sam Bird is looking for a final chance to get that championship title that he and Mitch Evans have been looking for Jaguar for a couple of years now. Antonio Felix da Costa, can't forget him, of course, either. And the sun has gone down here in Diriyah, and these are the drivers that will be entering this 8th season of the championship. De Vries and Vandoorne unchanged at Mercedes. Di Grassi, as I say, moving to Venturi. Oliver Askew, a debutant at Andretti alongside Jake Dennis. Evans and Bird at Jaguar. Franz and Cassidy at Envision Virgin Racing. It's also the same at DS Techeetah. Antonio Felix da Costa, joined by Jean-Eric Vergne. Porsche named an unchanged lineup as well. Oliver Rowland has moved from Nissan to join Mahindra, where he's alongside Alexander Sims. Max Günther has left Andretti to join Nissan Edams, where he's alongside Sebastian Buemi. Antonio Giovinazzi makes his debut this weekend, the Italian joining Sergio Sette Camera at the Dragon Penske Autosport squad, and Dan Ticktum, the third of our debutants, alongside Oliver Turvey at Neo 333. Now, Dario, this is always a circuit that we enjoy coming to. Under the floodlights, it looks spectacular as well, and the drivers love it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. What a great place to start the season. What a great circuit. 2.5 kilometers, 21 turns, and definitely a challenge for the drivers. Turn 1, early turn in, carrying a bit of speed. Don't go too wide though, because immediately into 2 and 3, steeply downhill from 5, and then it's one corner into the next for over half a kilometer down the hill to turn 14. So easy to make a mistake there and end your day, and even if that happens in practice. Double right-handers, 16 and 17 up a steep hill. This is the action zone. Turn 18, heavy braking, all kinds of overtaking happening there. Attack mode activation zone on the outside of 19, turn 21 to finish the lap. And that is a lap of this very, very cool Diriyah track.
Just under 2.5 kilometers long, and it has given us some entertainment over the years, and we'll see what we get this time around. I'm sure it'll be some classic Formula E entertainment as Nyck de Vries arrives as the reigning champion for Mercedes EQ. Still, you'll see the number 17 on his car, and that is because E and Q are the 5th and 17th letters of the alphabet, so 5 for Vandoorne, 17 for de Vries. So that's why they didn't go for the number 1. He also said he doesn't think he would have taken the number 1
really
anyway. Yeah.
My old boss used to say it's because he'd spent a fortune on merchandise, and the merchandise had the number 10 on it, and that was what we were sticking with.
There is the aforementioned number 5, Stoffel Vandoorne, and they have a mighty lineup, Mercedes EQ. They'll be at the front of the pit lane, so they will be first out on track every single time. But also with the Mercedes powertrain is the Venturi squad, and Lucas di Grassi moving to Venturi. He's in for a big season, I think.
He really is. He spent his whole career with the Audi team in its various guises. Made the move to Venturi when Audi pulled out of the series. This is huge. How is he going to fit with the team? I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised by the performance of the Mercedes EQ powertrain. He's going up against Eero Mortara, who is a heck of a driver. They've got a new team principal with Jerome D'Ambrosio. I expect big things from Venturi this season.
Mitch Evans is number 9 this season, as opposed to number 20. Sam Bird is still number 10, as the lights go green at the end of the pit lane, and the cars head straight out onto the circuit then for their first 30 minutes of running. They get 15 minutes less free practice this year. It was a 45-minute session and a half-hour session. Both free practices are going to be 30 minutes. There you see the bright green Envision cars on the hashtag Diriyah E-Prix. Hilmi has pointed out that I've already said Envision Virgin, but they're not Envision Virgin anymore. They are just Envision, but get ready for a few of those slips as the session goes on. I'll be calling them BMW I Andretti at some point.
Well, you're talking about in a historical context, though, Jackie. I'm trying to bail you out here.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either.
I can never remember what I've just said. There is Eduardo Mortara in the all-black Rocket Venturi. Really good-looking cars. I mean, it's obviously a very simple paint job, but they look absolutely fantastic, especially under the lights. In fact, all the cars look fantastic under the lights, don't they? So there goes Freins. There goes Mortara. So he's got sort of a bright yellow helmet. This is learn the cars with Jack time. So he's got a bright yellow helmet and the little yellow flash on the top of the camera, whereas Di Grassi's behind is just a little bit less bright and sort of more white in his traditional green and yellow of the Brazilian flag. As they come around the bottom at turn 16 and 17 and up over the start straight, not the timing line. The timing line is on the exit of turn 21. And here come the Jaguars out of the final corner at 21. That's the timing line there, under that bridge. And it is Sam Bird ahead of Mitch Evans. An all-black helmet for Sam Bird, but he does have an all-white helmet as well that he can use to mix it up as he now starts the toboggan run. And the only driver to have won here twice, Sam Bird.
And you can see how little grip there is out there, Jack. And you can actually hear it as well. You hear the tyres chirping. And the drivers, this is their first real feeling. I mean, they'd shakedown a couple hours ago, but the first real feeling at full power. And power this year, race power has gone up from 200 kilowatts to 220 kilowatts is your race power. But they're just feeling out the tyres, feeling the grip available. And by all accounts, there is not a lot of grip available, a lot of dust. We're in the middle of a desert, quite a dusty track, and I expect quite a lot of track evolution as we go through tomorrow.
Full course yellow practice, as is tradition in the opening minutes of a session, and that is just to test that everything is working. Scott Elkins, the race director, in the middle there, in the black mask, and here's Sam Bird.
Yeah, mate, all fine. Just the track is just horrendous. Grip level is non-existent.
I was lucky enough to go around in the safety car about an hour ago or something with Bruno Carrera, and the wonderful new Porsche safety car. No disrespect to the Porsche, but it just didn't turn because there was so much sand and dirt out on the track there. There's Antonio Felix da Costa coming over the crest of the hill.
And the organisers have washed the circuit so many times, but again, we're in the middle of a desert. There's a lot of construction going on at the far end, this end of the site as well, away from the UNESCO World Heritage Site. But yeah, it's not. It doesn't make it easy for the drivers. As you hear them, the full course, the yellow is gone, green flag out, back to racing speed.
So into the final corner comes the DS Techeetah out across the line, and that is Antonio Felix da Costa, reigning champion of last year. Didn't win the championship, so no longer reigning, of course, but he and DS Techeetah will have an interesting season ahead because it just never quite came together for them.
No, it seemed at the start of the season, we thought, okay, yeah, they're in the shout. Then they put the new powertrain in the car. Different teams were allowed to, because of COVID, I think, they were allowed to put the powertrains in at different points, and we thought, look out when DS put the new powertrain in. They're going to head off into the distance, and they never really did. It actually was a drop in performance, I would say. So, same powertrains in the car. Everything was homologated for 2 seasons, season 7 and now season 8 that we're in. You can change the software, and I'm sure there's been a lot of work going on at DS Techeetah to get rid of some of the problems that they had last year.
Da Costa through turn 16 and 17, and then up the hill over the straight and towards the chicane at 18 and 19. Won the first ever visit to Diriyah, did Antonio Felix da Costa, for BMW, which was his second win in the Formula E World Championship. That was back at the start of season 5 as we begin season 8 now. And, well, we saw quite a bit of battling, didn't we, between the two Techeetahs into this corner last year when he and Jean-Eric Vergne were side by side in what felt like it was going to be a common theme of the season, but because they weren't fighting at the front, it sort of faded backwards a little bit as we see Jean-Eric Vergne come through now. He finished 10th in the standings last year, his lowest ever in Formula E, despite taking a win in Rome and having some strong performances. 10th in the championship. It
was so close, wasn't it? I mean, how many people were in the wrecking going into that last race in Berlin? Never mind the last 2 races.
I think I still had a shot going into Berlin.
Yeah, certainly going into London you did. It was utterly mad. Has that car got a bit of damage? It has. Left rear, the car that's just off screen, has got damage. Let's see, is it one of Mercedes?
Yeah.
Left rear.
Nick de Vries, I think that is.
Yeah, left rear. Yeah,
So
de
Nick
Vries
de Vries
left rear.
has picked up some damage. Oh, it's crabbing big time, actually.
The damage has come. Look, there you go. There's your left rear damage.
That might be the end of Nick de Vries' session, you know. Reigning champion, it might be over for him in the first 25 minutes.
You've got to be careful. The gearboxes in these cars are so light for efficiency that if you have an accident like that, you can punch the drive shaft clean through the gearbox. Then you've got to change the gearbox, and there's all kinds of penalties. And Nick de Vries is parking it. He's doing a good job to get it off circuit, but that's probably going to necessitate a red flag already 6 minutes, 5 seconds into the session.
Wow, reigning champion out of free practice 1 within, well, just over 5 minutes into the session, Nick de Vries. And there'll be a double waved yellow out there at turn 13. He's pulled off the circuit in a sensible position, but he's obviously taken quite a whack to make it crab so much. Full course yellow is deployed, so hopefully we won't need to go full red flag, because that will give the marshals the opportunity to remove the car. But concern for Mercedes EQ and Ian James there, the team principal. Okay, it's only FP1, but with such limited track time, it could be a big deal.
A tap on the, well, you probably saw the replay.
Yeah, so the car is definitely crabbing, so there's some suspension damage, so we're not going to take any risk.
We haven't seen it actually yet, Nick, but we will, of course. 23 minutes to go.
We saw it crabbing.
Yeah, we saw it crabbing.
That's when the driver said, "Yeah, tap, just a tap." And you'll see the tap in a minute.
Well, I think that's why he bailed out of it, didn't he? He said, "Well, I tapped the well, you might have seen it on the tape. It wasn't a tap." So yeah, full course yellow, and we'll hopefully get that car cleared as quickly as possible.
You were just saying, about missing practice. With only an hour of practice now, has it gone down from an hour and 15 minutes? You've got an hour of practice. Yeah, you can't afford to miss any. The engineers have got run plans that are so on the button. You've got to do everything at the right time, and to miss essentially 25 minutes of practice is going to be tough for Nick de Vries to come back from. The good thing is the track's in terrible condition, and it's going to get in much better condition tomorrow for free practice too. Won't be completing or continuing his form of topping every session that he did in the first race last year. Free practice 1, 2, qualifying groups and the race for de Vries. There is Stoffel van Dorn, and they are just about getting de Vries' car off the circuit now. Now this is what happened on board with de Vries. Turn 1.
The left-hander of turn 1, right-hander of 2.
Just got wide in the infamous 3. Actually, it wasn't a big hit, but you could see as soon as he lost the rear on the way in. You'll see here. Look at the bumps. Yeah, as soon as he got on the dirt. And his teammate almost followed him in.
Wow.
That could have been really ugly for Mercedes EQ.
That would have been quite something, wouldn't it, if they both went off at the same corner? So things aren't as bad as they could have been there for Ian James now.
That still just shows you the margins the drivers are dealing with. They're absolutely tiny, slightly over the limit. They hit a bump, lost the brake balance a bit too much to the rear, and it's all over.
So de Vries off the circuit, and the session can continue. Edoardo Mortara for the Venturi team ahead of Lucas di Grassi. Now it is actually an all-black helmet for Lucas di Grassi to match the car. There he is, and so that actually makes the two really quite easy to differentiate. So Mortara with the bright helmet, di Grassi with the black helmet.
It's got some green, hasn't it? It's got
a few sort of green and blue, and
Well, we appreciate the Venturi guys and the drivers doing that, so we can actually tell. I mean, even I can tell the difference between those two, which is saying something.
Yeah, absolutely. So they could be in for there you can see de Vries having a fiddle with the suspension at the back there. Now he's parked off the track.
He'll be checking that drive shaft and the gearbox. The drive shafts in these cars, big carbon fiber drive shafts, to have the lightest rolling resistance. But yeah, they can do a bit of damage. It's
kind of the most Formula E start to a season, isn't it? When the reigning champion hits the wall after 5 minutes of free practice and can't compete. You're like, only in Formula E you're getting that.
Yeah, absolutely right. So the Costa Quick is 15.4. Fastest in the first session last year was Nick de Vries at a 108.69.
Oh.
So we've got a bit to go, but I think that was at 250 kilowatts qualifying power. So we're now at 220 again because of the increase. And that's going to change. That's going to change the shape of the track. Yeah. They're going to be going so much quicker, accelerating quicker. having much more straight line speed, but they're going to have to brake quicker, they're going to have to regenerate more as well. So the track's going to change a bit how you drive the track. And you can hear Di Grassi in particular, the rear tyres on board, you hear the tyres screeching with just a lack of grip. Just listen. It's down at turn 14. Now watch as he comes to up to 16, a bit of lift and coast. Not carrying too much speed because it's easy to get off line, as we saw. Hard to the throttle because it's steeply uphill here. Just look how dusty the track is. You can see the car in front, the light blinking as he regenerates, puts energy back into the battery.
Di Grassi, another driver who had his lowest Formula E standings finished last year, 7th. And that was despite being in title contention. I remember going into the final day in Berlin and thinking Di Grassi was fully in the title fight, but he's now returned to the pit lane. There is the Mahindra coming through the final corner of Oliver Rowland, and the British driver joining the Mahindra team after leaving Nissan. Him and Alexander Sims are going to be an interesting pairing this year. And Mahindra will be an interesting prospect. I think they're my sort of dark horse, because it's a bit of an unknown, really, because last year there were highs and lows, weren't there?
No, absolutely. I mean, they won a race in London with Alex Lynn, but then they finished in the championship. They didn't have a good finish in the championship at all. So I think it was 8th championship. So yeah, they'll be looking for things to improve this season. Had a good qualifying pace, though. You've got to say the qualifying pace was very, very strong last year.
As was Oliver Rowland's qualifying pace. He qualified on the front row 4 times, the most of anyone. And he's also the only driver to have scored points in every race in Diriyah. All of the 5 races, Oliver Rowland has finished inside the top 10, but never on the podium.
Sorry, 9th in the team's championship last year. You know, at this point, this is when realization sets in, Jack, because everybody thinks, oh yeah, we've got good. This year's it. We got good. We can be quick. We can do this. Reality starts to set in about in the first practice session. You actually see how you stack up. You know, in the next 15, 16 minutes, that reality will set in to see if you think you are actually a championship contender, or you know you're going to have a tough season, because you're going to start knowing the pace of the car, your energy consumption figures, and all that sort of stuff that the teams analyse so carefully. As we go on board with Nick Cassidy and the Envision, the new colour scheme. Nick Cassidy was a breath of fresh air to the series last year, wasn't he? He did that pole position in Rome. Unfortunately, had the issue and spun that away. But yeah, really a great addition to the series. Yeah, he had 2 pole positions over the course of the season, did Nick Cassidy. Going into the final 4 races in London and Berlin, he was actually 5th in the standings, well clear of Jake Dennis, and Cassidy was easily looking like the best rookie. But then Dennis kind of had his late charge and finished up third, and the best rookie season ever. But Cassidy was sort of ahead of him for most of the year, so it's really interesting how quickly it was switching around. But Cassidy was actually very impressive in the first race here in Diriyah, well, the first qualifying session. He was about to go into Superpole in his debut. As you see, Sylvain Philippe on the left, the managing director of the team, and Mike Glug on the right, who's the technical chief. As Oliver Rowland now returns to the pit lane. Yeah, he was going to go to Superpole, Cassidy, and then Sergio said a camera crash, so his lap time got removed. There's the other Nissan with the new driver, Max Günther. We saw Sebastian Buemi in the pit lane. There, his helmet looks terrifyingly similar to Buemi's, so that is of deep concern to me. But Günther's won 3 Formula E races, more than Robin Freitz has won, more than Mitch Evans has won. It's quite remarkable. Yeah, more than Nick De Vries has won, more than Stoffel Van Dorn's won. But watch his style. I mean, he's absolutely on the limit, and that's caught him out a few times, because he was hit or miss last year, and unfortunately he did hit a lot of stuff. And that was one of his problems. If he can just temper that just a little bit, but keep that extraordinary speed that he does have, he'll be a championship contender.
Interested to see what Nissan can do as well, because they were so strong in season 6 with their dual motor powertrain, so fast. Everyone was terrified of them. That got outlawed, and then last year they never really sort of recovered from that, did they? Oh no, sorry, it was season 5 they had the dual motor, and then they haven't really got back on the front foot since.
No, there was some. They talked about all kinds of little. There was rumours of all kinds of little issues with an imbalance in the motor, that kind of stuff last year that was causing issues for the Nissan. Those men know for sure.
Tommaso Volpe on the left-hand side, the Nissan Global Motorsport Director, and Francois Sicard on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Francois Sicard has been and seen and done racing.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. Most of the guys at DAMS have that run the Nissan program.
Feeling much better.
Okay, so we build up confidence from that point then.
That is Gunther saying it's feeling a lot better. He's got Baptiste Alain as his race engineer this season. As I say, Martin Eriot moved over from the 22 car to the 23 car to be with Sebastian Buemi. Pascal Wehrlein, I said to him earlier on, Porsche had a lot of pace last year but never really hooked it up. He said, well, we did hook it up in Puebla, but then they were disqualified from the race win and then penalised from a podium position the next day, but always qualified well, the Porsches. In fact, I think Wehrlein had the best average qualifying of the season. Yeah, he was the best qualifier, but he only had 1 podium in Rome. Second on the grid for the first race of last season here in Diriyah as well.
Yeah, with that old qualifying format, when you weren't having good race results, it did sort of flatter your qualifying performance a bit. But with this new knockout system, the dual system, I think we're going to see, you're really going to see a true reflection of who has the 1 lap pace. But in this new format, you're not going to have to do 1 qualifying run, or maybe 2, as it used to be if you got into Superpole. You're going to have to do it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And different power modes. Some are going to be 220 kilowatts, some are going to be 250 kilowatts. It's a real challenge for the drivers. I'm really excited to see what happens tomorrow with this new qualifying format.
Here is Gunther. You might have seen his a little purple flash next to his name a few moments ago. I think that was because he was doing a fan boost test up the main straight. So that's what you're seeing. Although we're still seeing a few flashes here and there, so it might be just an issue with the powertrain or the telemetry at the moment from Gunther. He's certainly not going to be on a full power lap. Antonio Giovinazzi giving a bit of beans coming down the hill through that very tricky left-hander at turn 5.
I'm just watching the amount of grip available, Jack, through especially sort of the 2-3 area. And this is going to be a massive shock for somebody like Antonio Giovinazzi that's used to all that grip and downforce that an F1 car has. And Formula E car is designed specifically for it to slide around, tyres for all conditions. But to learn how to drive that quickly, one thing on the simulator, one thing at Valencia, another thing on a dusty, bumpy street circuit like we have here in Diriyah. He got a bit close to the wall.
He's in all the track, isn't he, Giovinazzi? As weaving around in front is Edoardo Mortara off the racing line. It's Giovinazzi with the green, white and red of the Italian flag on his roof. 5th Italian to enter Formula E. Can you name the other 4?
Jarno Trulli, Michele Ceruti.
Oh, good.
No.
Neo, Luca Filippi.
Luca, of course.
And I actually can't remember the 4th because I wasn't planning on asking you. Who was the 4th? That's Robin Freins.
He's not from Italy.
No. Robin Freins.
Who was the other one?
I can't remember who the 4th was now. Here's Andre Lotterer across the line. So he's flashing blue at the front, so he is in attack mode at the moment, and we're going on driver's eye with Andre Lotterer. This is the top of the hill and the start of the toboggan run.
Andre Lotterer, one of the big unanswered questions of Formula E last year. It just didn't come together for him. Sometimes too aggressive, made mistakes, not fast enough. Other times did a good job, got disqualified. God, I tell you what, he's not hanging about down the hill. Coming through 12, 13. Absolutely, look at the back of the car sliding correcting the whole way down. Looking down at the dash is pixelated for us, so we can't see, or the teams can't see the information that Porsche has on the dash. Porsche looks like it's handling quite well though. Back to the throttle, steering nice and straight. Again, looking down. We're going to hear him lift and coast in a second. No, he doesn't. Interesting. He's on a push lap here, I would say. He's got some traffic ahead though. Watch how his eyes follow his eyes. You can see how his eyes are following. He's in full power, 250 kilowatts. Just follow his eyes. That's exactly where he's looking, trying to position the car with pinpoint accuracy. 112.4. Andre Lotterer still a long way away from the 108.6 from last season. That shows how low grip the circuit is at the moment.
Thank you to all of those of you tweeting the answer on hashtag Diriyah Ypres.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's the driver steward this weekend?
Antonio Liuzzi.
Yes, Liuzzi did a season, or a bit of a season, with the Trulli team.
Sorry, Tonio.
Yeah. He's not listening, he's stewarding. I don't think the stewards listen to us, do they?
I hope not.
No. Just checking. 9 minutes to go. Sam Bird getting out of the way of his teammate Mitch Evans. Evans coming to the bottom of the hill. 4 podiums last season, the most of anyone. They were all third place finishes though. As Van Dorn goes to the top of the times. A few sparks coming from underneath Evans' car there. But yeah, 4 podium finishes, all third places. As he now climbs the hill.
I was watching the timing screen, but I could hear the Jaguar bottoming out on the sound. It just shows around that section of track how bumpy it has become. Just listen to Mitch Evans onto the throttle. Is the Porsche going to let? Nice, Porsche's gone to the pit lane. And Mitch is pushing.
Through the final corner comes Evans. He goes third fastest at the moment, a 1 minute 12.375. 4/10 slower than Stoffel Van Dorn, who's at the top of the times at the moment. Jean-Eric Verne in second, and Roland now goes second fastest, in fact, for the Mahindra team. Da Costa now goes on an 11.9, so the times are, sorry, an 11.691. Times are jumping around quite a lot.
Yeah, people are starting to use the full power 250 kilowatts to try and do a qualifying simulation. 7 minutes to go.
Roger Griffiths, the team principal of the Andretti squad. This is Oliver Askew into turn 1, the 2019 Indy Lights champion with the Andretti team.
Hey, look, that car, Oliver looks like he's found a nice level of grip compared to what we saw earlier. I mean, really driving it well. The car looks like it's got a bit of grip. You can see him driving it to the limit. Again, another driver who this is completely new for. But he's definitely used to bumpy street circuits, and so far driving well, but he's 4.5 tenths off.
Still, all of these laps are not happening for Nick de Vries, of course. You can see the reigning champion down in 22nd position, and he is only going to complete 2 laps in this session. We've got less than 7 minutes to go. Askew a second down after the middle sector. He's in attack mode at the moment, which this year is 250 kilowatts, of course, so that's a new thing for this season. Is basically attack mode and full power qualifying mode are the same. So that's going to take a bit of getting used to. I should have explained that earlier, to be honest. And so the blue means attack mode, but it means the same as the purple, basically, on the front. Here's a replay of Askew. The 26-year-old American.
Let me know when we're going 250.
From Melbourne in Florida. So yeah, attack mode and 250 are now the same thing for this season. So I think for that reason we'll see more. Well, we obviously will see more full power laps than we would have done over the last few years, because before you used to just sort of get one. But this year, it's every time you go into attack mode, you're running at full power qualifying mode, basically.
Let's see what this man could do. Oliver Turvey, full power qualifying mode. He's at 250 kilowatts. Turvey needs to make something happen this year. Which is tough in the Neo car. He's in a difficult position. He's proved time and time again he can do the job. Ringing the neck of the car through turn 16 and 17. Neat and tidy there. Whether it's quick or not, we'll find out. He's 1.8 seconds off.
5 minutes to go. Turvey scored points in both Diriyah races here last year.
Remember, we were saying, oh, the Neos are there, they're going to go to the back, and they hung around all day and got some really good points.
Yeah.
A fantastic job by Turvey.
He was beaten 10-5 in qualifying by his teammate Tom Blomqvist, but outscored his British teammate. And he's up, I think, for a bit of a test with Dan Ticktum this year. That's going to be an interesting fight at Neo, even if, in the same way that it was with Blomqvist, even though there is Ticktum, even though they might be towards the back, the inter-team fight is going to be quite a fun one. Ticktum coming in with less experience than Blomqvist had, but he's just backed off and given himself a little bit of space. He's in regular mode at the moment, which is 220 kilowatts. So 220 and 250 are the two power modes for this season, not the three that we had last year.
I think Dan Ticktum's going to impress. You know, his F2 credentials, his F3 credentials, put him on a street circuit, and he pulls a result. So I think he's, if he's got a strong engineer there, keep him under control, then I think, as all engineers have to do for drivers, but as a rookie as well, keep him under control. I think he's got the potential to really have some good, strong results this year.
Matt Beers is his engineer for Dan Ticktum, and actually our commentary booth is right next to the Neo garage, and I was trying to log on to our Wi-Fi, and Matt Beers' iPhone logged up, so I could have logged into his hotspot.
Did you use that? You didn't? Well done, Jack.
I don't know the password. Maybe it's Ticktum123 or something like that. 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That's it.
Yeah.
A half-hour session gone just like that. And that shows again how tough it is for Nick de Vries, having got those 2 laps, and that's it. Albert Lau, they've got a lot of work to do tomorrow, that whole Mercedes EQ team, that half of the team, to make up for that. That also puts a lot more pressure on Stoffel Vandoorne on his side of the garage to go through the run plan and find answers.
Yeah, because it's half the running for the whole team, isn't it, basically?
Absolutely.
And, that's something Envision was saying earlier on, that they don't have a sort of teammate anymore. In where they had Audi with them last year, they now only have themselves running the car. It's getting a bit tight here as Vandoorne comes up behind Alexander Sims, and he's been held up a little there as the Belgian comes across the line and improves to 4th place.
Yeah, and that was a full power run for Vandoorne, so he will not be happy with that.
Were you about to ask me something? I felt like you went, do you think?
Yeah, and then I got distracted.
2 minutes to go. Lucas di Grassi over the crest. He's got Oliver Askew up ahead of him.
You can see how the front brakes are glowing on the cars. I mean, most of the rear brake is done by the regen, but amazing how much heat is going into those front brakes. But look at the understeer from the Venturi. Di Grassi up to 8th quickest, 12.0, only a second off the quickest driver, Jean-Eric Vergne. Max Günther up to 7th. Yeah, it's getting pretty busy out there.
Certainly is, and this is, well, it's busier than it's going to be in the group qualifying session, because there'll just be half the amount on the grid. And Bird is pushing pretty hard here, isn't he, as he comes down the hill. Sparks flying.
Sparks are cool. We got sparks. That was good. Yeah, absolutely. You see Bird, the car sliding across the track though in 14. That's not going to help him, but it's whether he can keep that momentum up, trying to brake straight to 16, back to the throttle out 7. Using a good bit of road, but 2.5 tenths down, just like that. Let's see how well the Jaguar brakes into 18. This is key for tomorrow, how well the car brakes in that area of the track. Again, brake discs glowing. You see a new patch of tarmac right at the apex of 19.
Here comes Bird into the final corner in the Jaguar. Da Costa's going quickly as well. And Bird goes 8th fastest. Da Costa goes fastest in the gold and black DS Techeetah. That man there, the Portuguese racer, the season 6 champion, Antonio Felix da Costa.
Yeah, DS Techeetah 1 and 2.
Here is the 2nd placed DS Techeetah, Jean-Eric Vergne, coming down the hill. Is he still on a...
Yeah,
he's just started a push lap, hasn't he? His last lap was a cool down lap, and he's a 10th up on Da Costa in Sector 1. We'll get Sector 2 here as he comes through the right-hander of turn 16. He's now 2 tenths up on Da Costa.
No, he's not anymore. He was heading out for Jeddah there. He missed the corner by so much.
I like that. I'll be nicking that one for the race.
Crack on. Oh, snap of oversteer on the way into 18. But again, quickest through the first 2 sectors. Coming to the checkered.
Checker flag is out, as you say. Wehrlein is the first driver to take it. And across the line comes Vergne. He goes 2nd quickest in the end, losing that time in the final sector with that slide. This is Jake Dennis through the final turn. Dennis goes 2nd quickest, a 1 minute 10, .739. This is Robin Freitz in the Envision car. Oh, that's going to take a lot of...
Well done, Jackie, you did it.
The thing is, you called it a Virgin car for so many years, then I had to train myself to say Envision Virgin, and now I've lost the thing that I could do in the first place. Anyway, here comes Freitz. After 2 sectors, he's 8/10 down. Not even a personal best for himself in the middle sector there, Robin Freitz. Now out towards the final turn. Everybody going as quickly as they can. Buemi goes 7th. Freitz now coming into the final corner at turn 21. And he remains 13th and doesn't improve. Then across the line.
Rowland,
wow.
P1.
Rowland goes a 10th up on Da Costa. On his final lap of the session. Here comes Alexander Sims. Sims slots into 12th position. Very good lap that from Oliver Rowland. That's his teammate Alexander Sims. Halos are the way to tell those two apart. Red halo for Sims there, and black halo. Oh no, apologies. There's nothing on the Mahindras. There's no way of telling them apart. It's the Andrettis that have the different coloured halos, I think, but there's nothing on the Mahindras. So we need something, because they also have the same helmet colour, so it's an absolute nightmare. Session over. I think everyone has taken the checkered flag, and now we're going to be doing the practice starts. That's the reason the yellow flag is out, by the way. It goes out at the final corner to try and avoid a Rome incident from last year. How useful are these practice starts when the track is so dirty? Are you going to get much reference point?
You'll get data, but I'm not sure you'll be able to change much because the tyres are hot and the track's dusty. So, yeah, I'm not sure. But it's data, isn't it? It just depends what you actually do with that data.
Yeah.
It's such a key factor, though, isn't it, of the start of the race, just getting into the turn 18 as it is, getting into there all right tomorrow night and then Saturday night.
Turvey on the right, Evans on the left here. There's the cue and the repeater lights on the left-hand side, so the drivers that are down the hill can still see the lights.
You're also practicing your braking point into 18. So it's not just the acceleration, it's also the de-acceleration. But let's be honest, the only guy that's going to can do exactly what he wants tomorrow night is the man who leads into that first corner. Everybody else is then taking a reference off of him and where he positions his car.
Away goes Cassidy and the Dragon of Giovinazzi. Through the right and the left at the chicane. It's always been very clean in that first chicane, hasn't it? All the years we've come here, it's all been on the opening lap anyway.
You've gone and done it now, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say on the opening lap, apart from last year when there was cars parked in the wall and Alex Lynn was upside down, skirted down the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but on the first lap, yes,
first lap,
I get it.
First lap. There was also Buemi getting turned around by Da Costa, wasn't there, when attack mode was there in season 6, as Van Dorn and Sete Camera come through the first couple of corners.
It's a great part of the track. I mean, it's just action because it invites, wide, big braking zone, heavy braking, wide and bumpy. All the recipes for fun.
Away goes Oliver Rowland alongside Eduardo Mortara. And it is a strong start to the season for the British driver. After the first 30 minutes of practice, Oliver Rowland is quickest. A 1 minute 10.559, just over a 10th quicker than Antonio Felix da Costa. Jake Dennis third, 5,000ths quicker than Jean-Eric Verne, Mitch Evans fifth. Mortara, Verline, Buemi, De Grassi, Cassidy completing the top 10. And then Andre Lotterer in 11th position for the TAG Heuer Porsche team. And then you've got Sims in 12th. Tipton in 13th place, only 14th for Stoffel Van Dorn. His teammate Nick de Vries, 22nd after crashing into the wall on his 3rd lap of his title defense. Still, long way to go. Another half hour of practice coming tomorrow morning, and then of course qualifying and the first round of the championship. So Van Dorn's returned his Mercedes in one piece. Be a bit of a late night, I think, for the Mercedes EQ gang to fix up De Vries's car, because I presume they do it tonight. They don't go, oh, we'll do it in the morning, let's go to bed.
No, they've got to find out what the damage is, don't they? And then they'll take the appropriate action from there. Yeah, the mechanics, I mean, the hours they work is horrendous. It's definitely a labour of love, isn't it, for anybody working in a racing team.
So Jean-Eric Vergne, compared to Oliver Rowland there, who's gone quickest. No, there are, look, I was right, sorry, it is a black halo on Rowland's Mahindra and a red halo on Sims's Mahindra. So there is that to look out for. My apologies. I thought that was right, and then I doubted myself. But Vergne was quickest in sectors 1 and 2, and was actually about 2/10 up. We saw in his teammate Da Costa, but also on Rowland through those first 2 sectors. So I think DS Techeetah will be the most happy after this first day, because Da Costa second, Vergne fourth, both within about 300ths of each other, and both right at the front of the order.
What they've got to do tomorrow is, as the track rubbers in, as the grip level goes up, the dust goes away, they've got to chase the balance of the car and keep the car in balance as the grip level goes up, because the balance will definitely change in those situations.
Lucas Di Grassi finished the session in 9th place. And of course, if you want to give your driver a boost, then Fan Boost voting is open. You can vote online at FIAFormulaE.com/fanboost, and the drivers with the most votes will get a power boost in the second half of the race. Antonio Giovinazzi, very popular at the moment. He, Antonio Felix da Costa, and Stoffel Vandoorne, the 3 drivers with the most fan boosts as it stands. Vandoorne is on a incredible run of winning fan boosts since he joined the series, but Giovinazzi, very popular indeed. Nick De Vries there, quite often picking up the fan boost as well. The first 3 practice session of Season 8 got underway just after sunset in Diriyah. Antonio Felix da Costa fixing up his own helmet. Oliver Rowland getting ready to take to the track for the first time in a Mahindra. And it was a very dusty track when the session got underway. A thumbs up and a wink from Nick De Vries, the reigning champion. It wouldn't be thumbs up for very long for the Dutchman. Everybody made their way out onto the circuit. Bit of a lock-up from Robin Freitz early on, coming into the first corner. Some great action from Andre Lotterer's driver's eye. But then Nick De Vries got all out of shape and clattered into the wall. Broke his suspension, and Ian James's man was out of the running on his 3rd lap. Alexander Sims for the Mahindra team. His teammate Oliver Rowland was looking quick. Oliver Turvey making his way past some of the back-marking traffic. 19th quickest for Turvey in that session. He's actually slower than his teammate Dan Ticktum, who ended 13th quickest, just 9/10 off Rowland. Antonio Giovinazzi ended the session 20th fastest. Jean-Eric Vergne was impressive in the DS Techeetah to line up 4th. Looked as though he was going to go quickest, but made a mistake coming into turn 17. And as a result, it was Oliver Rowland who ended the session fastest, a 1:10.559. First blood to Rowland in Diriyah. But still a long way to go, of course. Another half hour of practice coming up tomorrow afternoon, and then we've got qualifying later on in the afternoon, and the race gets underway pretty much in 24 hours' time. There is Dan Ticktum, who was over a second quicker than Oliver Turvey in the end as he makes his way out the back of the garage. Antonio Felix da Costa, second fastest. DS Techeetah looking quick, but it's Oliver Rowland who was quickest. Thank you very much for joining us this season. Great to be back. Great to have you guys back as well. We'll see you tomorrow.